Here's the thing, if you're going to be a comic book villain, you're going to have to do some pretty nefarious things, and one of the easiest ways to get noticed is to rack up a big body count. So let's take a look at them today. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are the 10 X-Men villains with the biggest body counts. Number 10. SABRETOOTH. When SABRETOOTH's mutation activated, he developed heightened senses, fangs, a healing factor, super strength, and razor-sharp claws. However, his powers always cursed him with an insatiable bloodlust. Even when people have done nothing to irk him, SABRETOOTH is compelled to gut anyone who has the misfortune to cross his path. Killing since he was a teenager, it's easy to see Victor Creed as a mindless brute. However, SABRETOOTH is a tactical genius as well. Recognizing his skills at tracking and killing, SABRETOOTH has even been hired to work with mercenaries, Black Ops teams, Team X, the Mob, Weapon X, and the Yakuza. Hell, even Nick Fury hired him to work as an assassin for S.H.I.E.L.D. However, SABRETOOTH has no loyalty to his employers or bosses, nor does he care about the job he's assigned to. The only reason he accepts these missions is so that he can get paid to kill. Number 9. NITRO. After the Kree experimented on Robert Hunter, he developed the ability to explode at will and thus took on the name Nitro. With a thought, the combustible criminal can detonate with the same force as 250 pounds of dynamite. Regarded as a C-list baddie at best, Nitro became infamous after his actions indirectly led to Captain Marvel dying from cancer. As devastated as the superhero community was by this loss, it was by no means the worst thing that Nitro did. While facing off against the New Warriors in Stamford, Nitro blew up beside a school, killing 600 people, including 60 children. Although some suspected the scale of Nitro's attack was accidental, Wolverine discovered Hunter was paid by Damage Control to blow up Stamford so the company could make billions on the reconstruction. Wolverine also learned that Nitro took a power-enhancing drug so that his explosion caused as much death and destruction as possible. Even though Nitro was already known for being a killer, the attack on Stamford earned him a reputation as amongst the most reviled supervillains on Earth, as well as one of the most murderous. Number 8. Mr. Sinister. Before he was Mr. Sinister, Nathaniel Essex was a visionary geneticist during the Victorian era. When Apocalypse transformed him into a mutant, his obsession with evolution amplified and he promised to dedicate his life to creating the perfect life form. For over a century, Sinister forced hundreds of people to serve as unwilling participants in his experiments. One time, he infiltrated Weapon X's Neverland and broke prisoners out, claiming that he would take them to safety. But in reality, he transported them to his personal lab and experimented on them, resulting in many fatalities. However, most of Sinister's kills are not by his own hands, but by his minions. Believing the disfigured subterranean mutants, the Morlocks, were scientifically unnecessary, Sinister worried that their existence would harm the gene pool, and thus ordered for their entire extermination. Even though the X-Men, X-Factor, and Thor did what they could to protect the Morlocks, Sinister's underlings slaughtered hundreds of the sewer-dwelling outcasts. Although Mr. Sinister claimed that his actions are in the best interests of society, this single act guaranteed him being labeled as a genocidal maniac. Number 7. Magneto. After Max Eisenhardt's family was killed during World War II due to their Jewish heritage, it was no surprise that he became a bitter and resentful man. When Max discovered he was a mutant with the power to control metal, it wasn't long before he encountered people who despised him for being different. Refusing to sit idly by while his fellow mutants were lynched by hate groups, Max took on the name Magneto and vowed to protect mutant kind. Even though Magneto sees himself as a hero, he affirms blood must be spilt to ensure his people's survival. As he traveled the world to free mutants, he used his magnetic powers to sink submarines, blow up space shuttles, crash tanks, and shoot soldiers with their own guns. During the Fatal Attraction storyline, Magneto set off an electromagnetic pulse across the globe, disabling almost all forms of technology, killing an untold amount of civilians in the process. Now that Magneto is more of an anti-hero than a full-blown villain, he doesn't decimate cities like he used to. However, he still has no qualms over killing. In fact, he's more than eager to slaughter mutant killers and Sentinel engineers to ensure his people live to see another day. Number 6. SELENE GALLIO. SELENE GALLIO is one of the oldest mutants on Earth. Since her abilities include telekinesis, super strength, disintegration, life absorption, telepathy, and pyrokinesis, it's self-evident that the Black Priestess is also one of the most powerful. However, she rapidly ages when she uses her powers, forcing her to feed on others to stay alive. Since she's been around for 17,000 years, one can only imagine how many lives this witch has taken in order to survive. She believes that she will ascend to godhood if she spills enough blood, which has encouraged her to initiate dozens of wars and catastrophes. In Doctor Doom and the Masters of Evil #4, she admitted to triggering Mount Vesuvius's eruption, which killed 2,000 people who resided in Pompeii. However, since she needs to harness the power of millions of souls to become a deity, she often allies with powerful establishments like the Hellfire Club so that she can use their sway to commit atrocities. Since she is fed off of members of the Hellfire Club and other immortals like herself, it's clear that she will consume as many people as she needs to in order to achieve her goal. Number 5. Apocalypse. When Apocalypse was born in ancient Egypt, he was abandoned by his parents due to his grotesque appearance. Living the life of a vagrant, Apocalypse believed destiny had nothing in store for him, but due to his mutant heritage, he was endowed with enhanced strength and endurance, guaranteeing him a long life. Because his powers also allowed him to live far beyond normal parameters, the all-powerful demagogue became obsessed with the survival of the fittest philosophy, encouraging him to winnow the weak to ensure the strong prosper. Over the millennia, the mighty mutant has fought and instigated battles with Alexander the Great, Rama-Tut, and the Persians, the Vikings, the Crusaders, Vlad the Impaler, and the Eternals. Like most dictators, Apocalypse usually works in the background while his minions kill in his name. However, he will never back down from a confrontation, and considering that he has a strength that surpasses Thor and enough superpowers to take out an army single-handedly, it's no surprise to learn that Apocalypse has killed hundreds of thousands with his bare hands alone. Number 4. Bolivar Trask. Believing mutants posed a serious threat to humanity, Dr. Bolivar Trask dedicated his life to protecting his race. Using his wealth and best scientific minds, Trask manufactured Master Mold, an android that constructed sentinel robots which can locate, capture, and exterminate mutants. But when Master Mold reasoned that the mutant could only be stopped by annihilating mankind as well, Trask realized that he'd made a huge mistake. In an effort to redeem himself, Trask blew up the Sentinel factory, killing himself in the process. Although Trask learned the error of his ways in his final moments, it didn't stop mutant haters stealing the schematics of his work to craft their own Sentinels. No matter how many times the X-Men turned these awful automatons to scrap metal, there's always some lunatic ready to build more. The Sentinels have destroyed society so many times that heroes from the future have to keep traveling to the past in order to reset the timeline. Even though Bolivar died all the way back in X-Men number 16 in 1966, he is indirectly responsible for the deaths of millions decades later. Number 3. Cassandra Nova. Cassandra Nova is an astral parasite that feeds off of the life force of physics. When Charles Xavier was still in the womb, Nova used his psychic energy to materialize beside him. Charles instinctively knew that Nova was an evil presence and so strangled her. When this fight caused Charles's mother to go into labor, she was rushed to the hospital. Although Nova's fetus was considered a stillborn, she actually survived. Since she hadn't fully formed, she spent decades building a body and used that time to plan to destroy her brother's life. Because Professor X envisioned a world where humanity and mutants live in peace, Nova thought that the best way to get back at her sibling was to desecrate this dream. After tracking down Bolivar Trask's cousin, Donald, Nova used his DNA to activate a mutant killing machine called the Wild Sentinel. After Nova sent the android to the mutant island of Genosha, it launched an attack which resulted in the death of over 16 million mutants. Because she exterminated 99.99999% of mutants on Earth, she brought mutant kind to the brink of extinction with this one single assault. Number 2. Dark Phoenix. When Jean Grey was dying in space, she came into contact with a cosmic entity known as the Phoenix Force. After this godlike bird merged with the founding X-Man, Jean's telekinetic and telepathic power amplified dramatically. Even though she was originally regarded as the weakest member of the team, fusing with the Phoenix turned her into the most powerful person on the planet. Jean originally saw the Phoenix as a blessing, but it wasn't long before she realized that it was actually a curse. When the Hellfire Club learned of Jean's newfound powers, they tried to use the Phoenix to take over the world. But since the Phoenix can only be tempted by bonding with a specific host, the Hellfire placed all of its existence into jeopardy when they released the cosmic force from Jean's psyche. Giving in to its primal urges, the godlike creature turned Jean into a malevolent being called the Dark Phoenix. Upon awakening, Dark Phoenix flew into space to find an energy source to feed its power. After she fed from a star in a neighboring galaxy, it went supernova, wiping out the nearby planet, killing 5 billion sentient lifeforms in the process. And number 1, the Brood. Eons ago, the Kree Empire caught dozens of hive-mind aliens, hoping to use them to wipe out their enemies. Believing the Brood to have the most potential, the Kree spent 8 million years turning these savages into a species capable of consuming entire galaxies. Although most invaders wipe out their victims with bombs or guns, the Brood's strategy is far more disturbing. These insidious insects place eggs inside viable hosts, allowing them to gestate. Once the embryo hatches, the host will be transformed into a brood spawn. The process destroys the host's mind, basically killing them. Unfortunately, the Brood were so efficient at wiping out their prey, it wasn't long before they were beyond the Kree's control. Within 5,000 years, billions of these vile beasts had spread across every corner of the cosmos, consuming hundreds of worlds. Thanks to their actions, the Brood have a kill count that measures in the trillions, and there is no question that the Brood are the most murderous creatures the X-Men have ever faced. And there we go, my friends. Those were the 10 X-Men villains with the biggest body counts. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I do all of my streaming outside of work, as well as my Warhammer Battle Report. So if you're into that sort of thing, it'd be great to see you over there, my friend. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. I hope you're treating yourself well with love and respect, my friend, because you deserve all of the best things in life. You are not the villain in your storyline, you are the bloody hero. So treat yourself well, both mentally and physically, alright? Big love from me to you. As always, I've been Jules, you have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.